There has certainly been a lot of rhetoric about the American presidential election, one that was eventually won by Donald Trump last November in 2016, and a man who was inaugurated as the 45th president of the United States just this past Friday, January the 20th of 2017. This is an inauguration that definitely had negative fanfare that was attached to it, and it was one that had riots occur prior to the address, which caused windows being smashed in many businesses, as well as other property damage around Washington, D.C., protests taking place in towns across America, similar to what you did see with Barack Obama's inauguration, for those that don't want to admit it. But also, there was the Women's March that took place yesterday, Saturday, January the 21st, in cities across America that seemed pretty impressive whenever it came to some of their numbers. Now, whenever it comes to heavy metal superstars or rock superstars, really music superstars, there has been a lot of rhetoric about this election cycle, really ever since it became a real race that was down to just three individuals in the minds of many, of course being Sanders, Clinton, and Trump. And one man in the heavy metal universe decided to take to Twitter on Friday during the inaugural address in order to really become very outspoken about his thoughts about Donald Trump, a man who we've heard from in the past in regard to this particular topic, but one that seemed to have gone to the extreme on Twitter, making his voice heard, and of course the air quotes are because Twitter is a social media platform. That's KIRK Hammett, and he's not even the most famous member of Metallica that has spoken about this election, of course. That probably goes to Lars Ulrich, who claimed that he was going to return to his native Denmark if Donald Trump was able to secure and win the presidency of the United States, which of course he did, and as far as I know, Lars is still here in America, but that's of course subject to change. But what did KIRK have to say? What has caused actually quite a bit of outrage, not only among the metal community, but also just among the community in general. Of course, Trump does have his outspoken supporters the same way that Obama did. It's really just the nature of politics. Let's take a look at these tweets and let's see if we can analyze anything about them. So here they are in sequential order. Trump's inaugural address and his asking us to put America first sounds, to me, familiar to what was said in speeches going around Germany in the 1930s and later Russia in the 1940s. Pay attention, people. Stand up for truth, compassion, and togetherness. Don't settle for anything less. Reject lies, fear-mongering, misguided anger. The system wants us divided so it is easier to control us emotionally. We are all in this together. Like it or not, we need each other to overcome the bigger threat. And we all know what the threat is. People in power who are trying to deny us and our children and grandchildren a healthy green future. Reject American carnage. We are a better nation right now than ever, better than just 5 years ago. Reject the lies from the people in the new administration. They are there only to feed their own thirst for greed and power. America never stopped being great. America is one of the wealthiest and most prosperous nations on the planet. I'm proud of America. To say America is not great, that it lacks greatness, sets up a scenario for manipulation and control from others. Pay attention, people. Remember the great America of today. Then I'll check in with you about America's greatness in 6 months, and we'll see what's changed. The only people who deny climate change are the same people who stand to lose from renewable energy. This administration is thinking that it can just ignore climate change. People, it now comes down to us to make up the difference. Let's not stand for their preaching lies about our Mother Earth. Deny the deniers. They are the Earth killers. Reject the term alt-right. Just another sneaky euphemism for white supremacy. Call it what it is. Don't let them hide behind dishonesty. One final thing, if we don't put up a fight, we risk losing our rights. Losing our rights. Yes, Scooby-Doo wrote this. Defend democracy from those who want to crush it. Wow! To say that KIRK decided to go really full scale and deliver his own inauguration manifesto, I would perhaps be putting this a little bit lightly. We have a lot in there to really digest, and it is something that does require a little bit of digestion after reading it the first time. It's going to perpetuate and has perpetuated a lot of anger among those who are the supporters of the new administration. He has found some support with those who have been, of course, against it. That is not all of that surprising, but is there a lot of credence to what he has to say. And really, this is something that within the confines, within the walls of America, especially now in the social media age, is going to become a very commonplace occurrence. And really, it goes back to whenever Obama was inaugurated for the first and whenever he was re-inaugurated the second time around, of course, the protests that were available from the other side. There are many now that are calling for a lot of handshaking, a lot of compassion, and a lot of togetherness, working together now that Trump has become somebody who was in office. From a lot of people that, of course, over the past 8 years could not have been further away from the idea of cooperation and things of that variety. And so I think the whole notion here is that you get what you give. And so I don't foresee there being anybody coming together really based around this idea. He's an unpopular president, one who, despite the popularity among his followers, still is very polarizing. He's definitely a man that has a lot of proving to do in order to really win over some of America, and that may not even be enough. Their mind may be made up already. It might have been made up before the election even took place, and that mindset, of course, being that regardless if this gentleman won, they would never support him. Not my presidents, just the way that Obama was not a lot of people's presidents, the way that Bush wasn't a lot of people's presidents. Here in the social media age, it is a lot easier to really divide and conquer like they have been, principally because they almost have to do absolutely no work. So Kirk does have a couple of good points in the fact that division is one that certainly aids those who are in power, considering there is not going to be enough of a solidarity to really challenge it. But a lot of the other things that he said really sounds like somebody who's looking from one side of the coin, perhaps seeing a lot of what is being stated by the administration, or a lot that has been sort of reported that the administration plans to do. There are some things that have been taken down that are causing some folks to feel a little bit uneasy. I don't know if I can fully support Kirk on this statement, simply because at this point in time, I'm tired of politics, for one. But for two, I would rather see what sort of pans out a little bit. There's one statement of his that I do agree with and I do want to support. And that's the fact that let's return in 6 months, or even really the first 90 days, and see the greatness of America. Because I agree that America was never not great. America was always a place that had a lot of opportunity. There were a lot of things that are wrong with this country, blah, blah, blah. But that is kind of a statement that feels a little weak. It feels a little bit fraudulent. But aside from that, this is kind of crazy. This takes that idea of celebrities sort of getting involved and making their voice known and all of that sort of to the extreme. The one thing that I will say that is sort of good about this is that it took place after the election, after the inaugural address, so Trump is still president. It's not like Kirk is using his power in order to try to sway votes one way or the other like we were seeing in 2016, where that was a big topic. But I want to know what you guys think about this. This is kind of nuts. I did not expect a huge scale manifesto from Kirk Hammett. I'm sure not a lot of you did either, and whenever you read this, probably had a heck of a reaction one way or the other. I want to know what that reaction was. Let me know in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts. I'm Cover Killer Nation, and I have a feeling this is going to be a topic that we will be discussing quite a bit throughout this year. I don't see this series of tweets just dying off within a couple of days. I see this as becoming a new modus operandi or a new tone set for America in 2017. Let me know what you think. I'll talk to you guys next time. Take care.